afternoon. Good afternoon. It is wonderful to see you all on this October 23rd. Fantastic. Hopefully we get a few more individuals coming on in because we have a full agenda, so we want to make sure we start on time today. And then a few individuals coming up, many of your directors. We had a very good amount of resident questions this month, and I'm sure you all will ask some questions at the end, I hope too. So again, I'm going to welcome up Lynn for the resident council update as your resident council president. Come on up, Lynn.
I sort of hate to start this meeting. I'd like to be like at the very end.
Well, I do make the agenda, so I'll talk to someone.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Okay. I don't have a whole lot from the council meeting or whatever's going on, but we have a couple of quick things to share. The Christmas in the Castle, for those of you who are new, you have no clue what this is, but believe me, it's a very fun weekend event early in December. I don't have the exact dates, but we are looking for volunteers to help with the various parts of the Christmas in the Castle, and there'll be an organizational meeting early in November. There's some sign-up sheets in the library, so please go check those out and think, okay, I might like to help with that. It's a one-time-a-year commitment. So the sign-up sheets are in the library for Christmas in the Castle. Also, I'm sure most of you are familiar with that little free library that's out on the fence. Okay. If any of you have books to contribute to that, we're running low. We don't want the kind of newer books you give to our library, but if you have small paperbacks, we don't put those in our library, the small size, or books published prior to 1990. There's a box in the library. Please go ahead and donate them because it's been very successful, but sometimes we have trouble getting enough books. And the last thing that I have is about how many of you have been enjoying the fresh flowers in the Gilman? Thanks to Paul Howrett, Jane Peterson, and I forget who else is involved in this initial effort. Who Paul? Mary Johnson, sorry. They have been involved in kind of researching this, going to different places where they can buy fresh flowers, finding out, where's the best assortment, pricing, et cetera, et cetera. And we're looking forward to having this continue. So I just wanted to read something that Paul shared with me about this program. This is going to require, again, some volunteers. Don't all raise your hands at once. But, we're looking for teams of 2 who will be willing to go over and buy the flowers, make the little arrangements, put them on the table. The flowers will last for a 2-week period. So in the middle of that period, that volunteer will go in and check the water, trim them if needed so that they'll still look fresh. So twice a month, we will have fresh flowers. You can also give a donation. If you'd like to give a donation to fund this effort, you can do that through, check with Paul, but you can go through Mike. And it's good for your taxes, that kind of thing. Let's see, the flowers for a 2-week period cost about $40. So afterwards, if you want to see Paul, if you have any questions, check with him. He's in the back row there. And there's going to be much more information in the November East Castle newsletter. Okay? So that's, again, a volunteer effort that isn't going to take a lot of time, but you can see what it means to our dining room. Okay? So I don't have any more anything. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Great updates. And now I'm going to invite Mike up, who has some special guests who will come up, as well as Mike's philanthropy update.
Actually, I have a lot to get through today, so I'm going to try to get into it. Usually, I do talk a lot, and Tyler used to stand in the back, and when I was on, I learned this when I was on TV, this means wrap it up. He'd be in the back doing this all the time. Lindsay hasn't learned that yet, but we're going to try to get her up today. I want to begin with something that's not on the agenda. those of you know that I tend to walk around the campus quite a bit. And I want to thank all of you that decorate your doors and your shelves and things like that. You can tell it's fall just by walking around and seeing all your doors and everything. It really is great. I especially want to thank Judy Christofferson, Karen Nelson, Pat Dunn and Curtis Washington, and Joe Schmidt. As I walk around, they've actually got candy on their shelves waiting for me as I come. There's 112 of you apartments out there, and that's 4. So just remember that a hungry, growing boy is coming around on an occasional basis.
Is that candy wrapped?
Oh, it is. It is. Except Judy Christofferson had malted milk balls for a while. Those weren't wrapped, but she had a spoon there for you to help yourself, so you didn't have to worry about it. I'm going to begin today. Joanne, why don't you stand up so everybody can see you there? Joanne has been working on a special project for a long time now. The stop and go lights over on Downer and Bradford, they're not really timed well for people that have a vision impairment or maybe a mobility issue. And she's been working with the low vision support group, her friends on that, to try to address that. And we've actually had Alderman Brower out here to address that with us once. A letter has been penned, and Judy asked me to read it. Joanne asked me to read it to you, and I will do so now. Dear Alderman Brower, thank you for your willingness to meet with our low vision support group following your election last spring. Unfortunately, the issues we discussed with you at that time are unchanged. On behalf of the residents of East Castle Place, Milwaukee Catholic Home, and nearby neighbors who live in the 3rd District, I'm writing to request a second in-person meeting to discuss the following issues. Traffic on Downer Avenue and on Bradford Avenue continues to increase from moderate to heavy. The traffic light is set to 20 seconds, which is not enough time for even our mobile residents to safely cross. The curb ramps for walkers and wheelchairs are not sloped towards the crosswalk, making travel left to right and vice versa slow and inefficient. A talking traffic signal, or at minimum, pedestrian flags that our residents could use to alert drivers to their presence would be helpful. Pedestrian flags at Stroll and Bradford would be a bonus. Please contact me so that we can set a date, perhaps over lunch at East Castle Place, to meet and discuss ways we can work together to fulfill your mission of making our 3rd District neighborhood safer and more accessible, and hours of making sure our residents enjoy all that our vibrant neighborhood has to offer. I look forward to hearing from you at your earliest convenience. Sincerely, Joanne Peer. Well done, Joanne. Thank you very much.
It's about the 6th generation. A lot of people worked on it.
A decision, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Did he answer?
We haven't sent it yet. You'll get the rest of the story.
Joanne and I tend to agree, believe that the letter will carry more impact if anybody who is interested were to sign on the letter. And to that effect, I have signature sheets with me today, and when I'm done talking in 45 minutes, I'm going to pass them around, and people can sign the sheets and join Joanne in her quest to make our neighborhood a little bit safer for all of us. There is another issue that I'd like to talk about today. Bob Faraday, why don't you stand up there just a minute. Let everybody see who you are. You've all been getting notices on your shelf about the Employee Appreciation Fund from Bob. Bob is the resident council's representative in trying to provide a wonderful holiday season for our hourly employees. And I'd like to give you a brief update on it. First of all, the deadline for you to contribute to this campaign is Monday, November 24th. That's Monday before Thanksgiving. If you would like to say thank you and send a special holiday gift to our hourly employees, please make sure you do so by that day. There's a blue box in the library that you can put a contribution in. You could also come and see me up in my office, and I'll take care of it for you. Multiple ways to contribute. You can do so by check. Many of your neighbors have done so by credit card. come up to my office and I can process a credit card transaction for you. We've also had 13 of your neighbors, and I know of at least 2 more that have informed me one is coming, have chosen to do so in a beneficial way for their income taxes. If you have a 403B, if you have a 401k, if you have a tax sheltered annuity, commonly called a TSA, you have an IRA. If you have an IRA, once you turn 73 and a half, you have, or 73, you have a required minimum drawdown on an annual basis. And you pay taxes on that. You can do something called a qualified charitable distribution from your IRA. As long as the check is made out to East Castle Place, you pay no tax on that expenditure, and it qualifies as a portion of your required minimum drawdown from your IRA. If you'd like more information on that, come and see me. I will caution you though, and I mean this in all sincerity, not every money manager works at the same pace. There is no IRS obligation that your money managers work under for how quickly they respond to your request for a check made out to your charity. Sometimes it happens overnight, sometimes it happens over 2 or 3 weeks. If you want to know how to do that, come and see me, but the sooner the better if you want to make sure you meet the deadline of the 24th. I can tell you right now, we're very, very, very pleased with the way the campaign is going, but we have a long way to go, evidenced by the fact that there's still 4 weeks to go in the campaign. 64 of the independent living apartments have contributed already. You all know that there's 112 units at East Castle Place of independent living. The dollar amount isn't so much what everybody was targeting as it was the resident council's goal of 100% participation. So, you know, we do have a ways to go, but for those of you that have contributed already, and for those of you who intend to, please accept my gracious appreciation. This is only possible because of your goodwill. So thank you very much. I also have a question here that I was asked to address, which is, please explain how endowments work. You know that I could talk for half an hour on this, so I decided to look it up on Google, and I'll extemporize a little bit when I'm done. An endowment is a permanent investment fund, often built from donations, that provides long-term financial support to a specific nonprofit or institution. The principal is invested, and a portion of the earnings is used to fund the organization's operations, while the rest is reinvested to allow the endowment to grow over time. This creates a stable and perpetual source of funding for causes like education, research, healthcare, retirement communities, etc. For those of you that are Latin scholars, the principle of an endowment is called the corpus. Anybody know corpus? It's the body. It's the body of the money. The corpus is never expensed. Only the money that comes from investing in that money is expensed. At East Castle Place right now, we have a couple quasi-endowments. One helps contribute funds to our scholarship program every fall. One is an employee welfare endowment fund. A lot of people think that you have to contribute, you know, $100,000, $200,000, $1 million to create an endowment. Smaller amounts can be added to an existing endowment. People don't have to create their own endowment to support an institution like East Castle Place. If you'd like more information about that, I'd be glad to share it with you at any time. And by the way, QCDs, Qualified Charitable Distributions, don't have to take place at the end of the year. They can take place at any time if after the Employee Appreciation Fund you still have some surplus money in a required minimum distribution and you're looking for a good way to avoid taxes on it. Contributing to an endowment is a very good way of doing so. So again, come and see me. I do want to point out one last thing. As we get closer to the holiday season, I still have East Castle Place wine. I have Cabernet Sauvignon. And we still have last year's cookbooks available for people. Come and see me. Are there any questions about the things I've talked about?
May
Oh.
I just add a comment?
Go ahead.
I just want to strongly encourage you to sign one of these papers if you are willing to agree with the body of the letter. And for those who aren't here that you know, we will have the possibility of signing these in the fireplace library room. And then all of this is going to be put together in one envelope and sent registered mail to the Alderman, Alex Brower. And if that doesn't do it, I don't know, we'll have to look for something else. But thanks for all the support everybody's given me.
Thank you, Joanne. The sheet that I'm going to pass around has 22 lines per page. Just write your name on one of the lines if you're willing, or pass the clipboard on to the person next to you. When the 22 names are filled on a page, there's more pages beneath it. Just bring up the next page. You'll find if by some fluke we go through all 5 pages I have on here, there's 5 more pages for Catholic Home. Don't sign your name on those. We don't deal with them all the time. So there you go. Thank you very much. Next up is Riley. Right? I'm sorry.
You want a printed name or a signature?
I think we'd like a signature. All right. Any other questions? Riley, you're up.
Hello, everybody. Can you all hear me okay? Okay, I can never tell with the microphone. So for the health center, we've had 2 new hires. We have a new health unit coordinator named Kendra, who's joined the staff as of Tuesday actually. And then we also had a new MDS coordinator, Tiffany, join the staff as well. So we're super happy to have them with us. If you see them, say hello. They're both super nice and really great so far. Jillian, the AIT from Eau Claire, she is currently working through her round. She's been a huge help with us through mock survey. She's going to be doing some rounding in housekeeping as well as therapy, just to help with some audits and stuff like that. She is currently out with her leadership program at a Wisconsin healthcare conference. So learning a lot. I'm sure she'll bring back some good nuggets of knowledge. And that is pretty much all we've got. A big thank you to the activities team for our family fun fair yesterday that we had for Bradford Terrace here in Lindsay Hall. It was amazing. So many people showed up from AL, Memory Care, and from our Bradford Terrace Skilled Nursing. So thank you so much to them. And I believe that's all I got. So
Quick question, at the very
Yep.
beginning, you gave a couple of initials. What do those stand for, please?
So the HUC is the Health Unit Coordinator, and then MDS, Lindsay, can you remind me?
MDS is minimum data set.
That's
So they do our nurse billing so that we get paid by Medicare. So it's a registered nurse that assesses the medical record, the chart of residents upon admission and quarterly, and then that gets submitted to Medicare, and then they determine the payment. So an important nursing position. They both are. Good question, Brenda.
Anything else? Alrighty, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. When I first started here 30 years ago, I used to be the HUC on the 4th floor. So there's some history if you're looking for any. So can you hear me? I have 3 questions. First question, if a resident falls and can't get up, is it true that a staff member or another resident cannot help them up? Absolutely true. Please explain the procedure. Should resident try to call 911? First, East Castle is a no-lift community. So what that means is if you do have a fall, East Castle staff cannot pick you up. Should a resident pick you up? Absolutely not. We have 1 fall, we don't need 2. So what that means is if you have a fall, the nurse will come, she will assess. More than likely, she will call. If you're injured, 911. If you're not injured, 2 things can happen. 1, the nurse can stand by and maybe see if you can get yourself up. 2, she can maybe pull a chair the old-fashioned way, try to maneuver you, give you some directions on how to grab the chair, and then you can pull yourself up. But she herself, no East Castle Place staff should be getting you up off the floor. and absolutely should no resident be getting you off the floor. It's just not safe. Any questions, comments for that question?
I think it's ridiculous.
You think it's ridiculous, which one? That staff can't get you up, or that residents shouldn't get you up?
That nobody can get you up.
I agree with you, Rita.
Well, that's well, you shouldn't really want another resident to get you up. That's just not safe. And, go ahead, Mrs. Heller.
Okay. Could you just remind everyone who they should call if they fall?
Now, depending on where you fall, if you fall in your apartment, push your emergency button. If you're falling in the lobby, dining room, there should be staff around, and they should be notifying the front desk so the front desk can get some assistance. If you fall at Syndic's, it's kind of out of our range. You fall outside, hopefully somebody will see you, come in, notify the desk. But it depends on where you're at, who you should be notifying.
Why should we push the button if nobody can help?
Well, you want to get up. She can call paramedics to still get you up. You don't want to lay there. Unless you can get yourself up. Some people are strong enough. Some people know how to maneuver around. They know how to get themselves up. If you're injured, you want the nurse there because you might need an ambulance. If you break a hip, you don't want to be moving that. You don't want to be maneuvering that on your own. So there's a lot of reasons why you should still call for some assistance if you fall. Stephen, you had a question?
911 will send a fire department, right?
Yes. We can also call non-emergency, which will send just a paramedic. It depends on what happens when you fall. If it's a non-injury, we can just call non-emergency paramedic. If there's an injury, we're going to call 911.
And you get a bill from the fire department. I get a bill from the fire department. Is that right?
Yes.
I don't think if it's non-emergency, there's a bill involved. I'm not 100% sure
I
though.
once took a fall walking my dog.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think
if it's-
that's a bit case by case.
Yeah, and I think if it's non-emergency. So I'm not for sure. We can find out, Stephen. You got a bill?
I didn't. My sister fell outside, and the staff came out. I called the front desk. I couldn't get her up. The fire department, the staff called 911, and the fire department came, and they assessed her, and they offered to take her to the hospital, get an ambulance to take her to the hospital. I said it didn't seem like she was seriously injured.
Okay.
They finally lifted her up, and she was okay.
Okay.
But I wasn't sure what to do in that situation, but I was sorry to see the fire department come.
Well, hey, that's what they get paid for. They're here to assist. So never not call for help if you need it. Okay, next question. Why can't we get information on an employee who is out sick so that we can send a card? This information is always kept so secret because that employee is protected by HIPAA laws. We can't just give that information out on an employee. But if you hear that an employee is out sick and you want to leave a card, you can. Just leave it at the front desk and we'll make sure they receive it. Last question. What medical care is available for independent living residents? So what are you looking for? Are you looking for a hip procedure or, no, I'm just kidding. So services that we do provide. We do have a podiatrist that comes monthly. We have a blood pressure clinic that's available every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. We do have a nurse practitioner that is going to be here and that is currently here every other Monday, twice a month. We do have the mobile audiologist that comes and parks at the Lake Terrace entrance there. And if you ever need to be seen by them, just let me know. And then I reach out to them and then they reach out to you. We do provide vaccination clinics, which we just had last week. We do have PT, OT, and speech in-house. So if you ever need some physical therapy services, let me know. We can make that happen for you. And we also have our Bradford Terrace nursing staff for emergencies only. If you push your pendant in an emergency, they will respond. So those are some of the services we provide right now. Yes, Mrs. Hagel.
You might want to explain that East Castle does not pick up the cost for the
OT and PT?
Oh, yeah, that's through Medicare. East Castle does not pay for physical therapy, outpatient therapy, or speech therapy services. That is an order you must get through your doctor that is passed on to the therapy department and that is then billed through your insurance.
I was gonna ask about the nurse. I saw one on her last day there, and she said there was nothing, they weren't gonna have anybody anymore.
Her last day is actually going to be next week, Monday on the 27th, and someone will follow after her. So once she's done on the 27th, we will continue to have a nurse every other Monday. So that service in the clinic will still be available.
Okay,
So that's all been worked out, Ms. Piper.
thank you.
But that was the case initially.
Uh-huh.
Any other questions for me? Well, thank you, and Anna Landis is next.
Thank you, Teresa. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't have much today, just a couple quick updates here. So as we sit here, my lovely team, Jennifer and Heidi, are placing in your mailboxes a formal invitation to our Friendsgiving. So did any of you attend this with us last year? What a fun time, yes. So the hospitality team here puts on a wonderful spread for Thanksgiving, and you are invited to invite your friends. So I want to encourage you, whether it's a friend that we've met with before or not, either is fine. But it's for those who are, again, interested in learning more about living here at East Castle Place. So I'm not going to stand up there and give any sort of spiel. This is truly just an opportunity to get together with friends and experience that warmth of East Castle Place together. So you'll see the invitation. We are offering 2 date options this year because we had a pretty good crowd last year. So if you RSVP to Jennifer Recklitz with which date you would like, we'll confirm with you then. But again, you're not limited to one friend. A few is fine. We are giving you one card that you are able to then give to your friend as a reminder if you would like. So you have your invitation and then this little card that you can hand off to your friend as a reminder of the date. If you need more of these, I'm going to place some at the front desk, so you're welcome to pick more up. And if we run out, let me know. But we'll be excited to have you and your friends together here in early November to kick off the holiday season for our Friendsgiving. And on the theme of holidays, I did a really fun audit of your storage units this morning. So something I walk regularly. And just want to remind you, as you go and get some of your decor this year, it might be a good time to kind of take an inventory of what you have in that storage unit. I have to do that at my house, but it's with toys. So what toys are going away so that we can make room for some of the new. There are some things that have kind of wandered their way out into the hallway in your storage areas. So if you're able to kind of go through those, again, take inventory, perhaps get rid of some things. And then I think in the spring, I'll partner with Eric here, he doesn't know it yet, but we'll come up with an event where we can have an opportunity to do a little spring cleaning as well and maybe offer some assistance in getting rid of some of those items that you might not need that are in your storage spaces anymore. I think that's all I have. Does anyone have anything for me? All right, thank you. I'll welcome Eric up.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll jump right into the questions. Thank you for your patience yesterday with elevator C. So that's the one right over here outside of Lindsay Hall, closer to the bathroom right now. Technician came out because I felt there was a rattling and kind of rattling and vibration on the elevator. So he came out, looked at it. We had to shut it down because the oil temperature was too hot. And they couldn't service it while that oil temperature is that hot. They couldn't make any adjustments. So we shut it down so that could cool down. They could make some proper repairs. They did some small repairs for us. Basically, it's trying to lubricate the main piston that pushes the elevator up and down. So we're going to see how their repairs work over the next week or two, making sure that kind of satisfies the problem. I just don't want to wait until it's a bigger problem and it's just completely out of service. So that's why we shut it down, for them to work on it. Hopefully there's no need for any sort of major repairs, but we'll wait and see what next week looks like for us. If there is something that needs to be done that's major, I'll make sure a memo goes out so you're aware. Bradford Terrace repairs and concrete. So there's 2 different projects going on. One you've received a memo about. That is It's on the Bradford Terrace building, specifically the balconies, the concrete balconies. There was some concrete that was chipped away just a while back because we were concerned about it, the spots that were spalling and cracking, that pieces would fall off. So to prevent that, we had a company come out and take all that off. Now we're having that company come back and make all those repairs and see if there's any further issues. They end up doing kind of a scan to make sure that some of that concrete doesn't have any further issues for us. And once they make all those repairs, looking about 5 days. So starting today, and then should be wrapped up by next Wednesday. They won't work on the weekends, and they're pretty much no noise until 8 a.m. and stop noise at 5 p.m. So it's more of a irritation a little bit for those folks over in Bradford Terrace because those some of those sounds tend to carry through the structure a little bit. At the end of that project, that's going to lead us into the next one. You haven't gotten a memo on it yet. I do try to keep those in the week of, so it's top of mind. But the main Bradford Terrace lot is going to be shut down just for a few days. We typically do some repairs once a year. We did some in spring. Based on some of what we're seeing with the concrete, we don't want to wait till next spring. So we're actually going to do our repairs this fall versus wait until spring. We don't want some of them to get worse. So we're going to go ahead, and there's about 7 spots. We're going to go ahead and cut those sections out. They go all the way down to the membrane. It's about 6 inches to 7 inches of concrete. And they're going to cut that out, nice and square, and they're going to come back and fill it in with new concrete. That way it doesn't continue to fall, and we get freezing, we get water and ice underneath the concrete, and it breaks up a larger section. And then they're also going to take out from the gate in about 60 feet, they're going to take up that whole section of concrete and replace it as well. Trying to get that whole main thoroughfare replaced. So that'll start next week, Thursday. Thursday, they're tearing out. Friday, they're pouring. And then 2 days to cure. So we'll probably open that overnight from Sunday into Monday morning. So Monday morning, it'll be completely accessible again. And that's it for my updates, other than a question. There are several dead cedar trees in the new garden on Downer Avenue, right in front of the building where the bird feeder is. So that's out right in front of Downer here, kind of towards that Lake Terrace building. We did some work there. There was 8 cedars that were put in. We lost about half of them. The ones that were dead have already been pulled, minus 2 that are kind of around the corner in that small, I don't want to call it a courtyard, but the small nook there between Lake Terrace and Historic. I'm actually meeting with the landscaper tomorrow to look at replacing those. So I'm going to let him kind of guide me if we think we should replace those this fall or if we should wait till spring. I'd kind of prefer fall, hoping that they get a good chance to put their roots in the ground before it gets too cold. But we'll wait and see what he has to say. But yes, we'll get those replaced. Any other questions? Yes, Lynn?
When the parking lot is closed, so everybody's car needs to be out of it.
That is correct, yes. It's always tough, parking stuff, but if probably the easiest place I tend to guide people is Downer Avenue. Out in front of Historic, there's quite a bit more room. The roads are wider. It's not as tight for you to park, and then the cars aren't buzzing by you quite as much. Plus, it always seems to be that the parking folks leave you alone out there. So even myself, I'll park in front of the Historic building on Downer at times. Otherwise, the triangle all the way around is pretty generous with space and availability as well.
So there's no parking permit that we'll be getting to?
There will be, yeah, that's just a good question. There is a parking permit coming out. Okay. It'll be placed at the front desk for those that have to park in the 2-hour zones, but that you can park longer than that. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Ask again about the area next to the parking garage where they're throwing leaves and stuff. And it's not supposed to be just a dumping ground. There's great big branches there. And, it's visually not very nice, people driving in. I've talked to it about it a couple times, but are you going to get rid of some of those branches? Looks like a new pile of leaves.
Hopefully we're starting it real soon here. The dumpster's supposed to be here today.
Could you repeat that?
Oh, I'm sorry. She's talking out the front of Lake Terrace towards the back service drive there. There's a section up on the hill by a large cedar tree that we keep some debris when we don't have a dumpster on site because we don't have anywhere to go with it. We can't include it in the garbage compactor. So we do tend to hold things until I can get a dumpster on site because it's much like the garbage. Unless I'm allowed to keep a dumpster here nonstop, then I have nowhere to go with it. So we do tend to hold, and then we get the dumpsters here, then we do load up the dumpsters, and then we get the dumpsters removed.
I thought dumpster did come and go, nothing ever happened.
Garbage. I can't commingle. So that was a garbage for just other construction debris. I have to specifically use the yard debris dumpster, which was a 2-week wait for any of the leaves and the branches and the things like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next up is Lindsay.
All right, come over this, not as tall. Thanks, Eric. Okay, so for my updates this month, and I have one more that I'll add that was at Majorca's request, as she is on a day of PTO today. But first, I'm excited to announce we've hired an administrator. Yay. I'm very excited about that, and you all should be as well, as this has been a long search for finding the right fit, making sure they fit our community, personality, culture, the East Castle vision that you all invest in, as well as we all want to continue for another 140 plus years. So I'm very happy to report that Brooke Harris has been hired as the new administrator for East Castle Place. Brooke is coming from sunny San Diego and will be moving here and starting at East Castle on November 17th. So Brooke is from Wisconsin, and she's from the Green Bay area originally. She went to UW-Eau Claire for their healthcare administration program, and then she's worked for Life Care Services, LCS, for the past 5.5 years out on the West Coast. The community Brooke is coming from is called Casa de las Campañas in San Diego. It is a very similar community to East Castle Place, with it being a entrance fee model or type A contract community or continuing care retirement community. So they have the full spectrum of services as well there. It's just much larger, being California, and they have independent living, assisted living, memory support, as well as health center. So Brooke will start on November 17th, and then we will have a meet and greet for her probably the first week of December. But conveniently, that Thursday will be our State of the Castle, so you'll get a nice introduction of her then, and she'll be able to introduce herself to you all at this meeting. So a memo will be formally provided, just with complete bio of Brooke, along with a photo so you recognize her on her first day. So look for that in the coming weeks. My first question then is, please explain the WOW system. How does HR police the program and determine if a staff member is working? Great question. So many of you are incredibly kind and generous, and you fill out WOW cards. And you fill out many at a time too, which is fantastic. And then those get delivered to Human Resources, and then Jen McEwen, our HR director, and I review those together. When we're reviewing those WOW cards, we have essentially two piles, where one would be we enter in extraordinary reward points directly for a certain nominal amount, and then we enter in, or they get posted on our employee appreciation board. The big thing, as we've mentioned with the WOW cards, is really something that's extraordinary or extraordinary in services received. Many of them, for example, that just get posted rather than points entered were, Dylan made a fantastic cocktail last night. He poured a great glass of wine and provided good customer service to me. Thanks, Dylan. We appreciate you. That is wonderful. Dylan loves reading those, but that's Dylan's job to do that as our bartender here. And he appreciates seeing those, but that wouldn't be necessarily considered extraordinary. That would get that money associated or point value associated. One, for example, is we had 2 extra guests join our reservation of 4, and then 2 more individuals joined us, so we had a party of 8, and Tanya did an amazing job. She kept our drinks full, she returned, anticipated our needs. I didn't even have to ask for my coffee to be refilled, and then assisted in getting me my walker and assisted me out of the dining room. That would be something that would be going above the beck and call of Tanya's normal dining room manager job duties. So those points would be entered in. And every point has the same valuation for WOW cards, specifically from residents, but it really is those extraordinary experiences that people go above and beyond. And so it's interesting as you write them, and now I want you to consider that, but I also don't want to stop you from writing those, because many of those our staff love to see. They're very encouraging. You all write wonderful things, and they do appreciate seeing those. There is just, with our Extraordinary Rewards program, there is money associated essentially to that, and being obviously fiscally responsible, we can't just give those out to everyone. And on top of that, there are many departments that are not as forward-facing, that we want to make sure there is some equality in how those are dispersed. So we as directors, we as management make sure that some of those behind the scenes are also receiving those points, but many residents write for nursing, write for hospitality, write for housekeeping, as those are incredibly important departments, but they are specifically the ones that you see most often and interact with on a day-to-day. Does that make sense? Perfect. All right, the next question. I have persistent internet and Wi-Fi problems. Please explain the systemic problem and when we can expect a resolution. This is my new favorite subject, the internet here, and I think Joe Petoskey, our IT managers as well. So we have been embarking on this journey for the past 3 months, specifically installing, as I've mentioned in prior meetings, the access points, which essentially gives us more points of access to have your streaming devices, your Wi-Fi using devices, more capabilities to have stronger internet. What we found through our exploration process here is that some of those originally, from predating myself, weren't installed correctly. So we have been fixing those. And then the megahertz of when we've installed them, they're supposed to be at a 5, and they're still functioning at a 3. So these recent installation and investment of these access points that we've installed some of them are functioning, so some have seen improvements, or some of your neighbors have, but some of them are still not quite up to that same level of expectation that we invested in and we would like to see. So we are working with the actual manufacturer and the installer of the company, and they are actually coming out because they too are kind of confused as to why there would be a delay or they aren't functioning to their fullest capabilities. So we should see individuals here in the next couple weeks who will be on site and looking at those that aren't functioning to their highest capabilities, which then I hope we can move on to a new subject, because I too would like to stop talking or thinking about Wi-Fi and streaming devices here, because it affects, obviously every aspect of the business. So we want to make sure we have the most quickest, opportune internet available and Wi-Fi for you all. So more to come. It still is a work in progress, but that is exactly where we found some of our roadblocks as of most recent. And then just as a plug for Majarka and our hospitality team, and if any of you were at Lattes with Lindsay, I was almost going to say coffee with Tyler yesterday. Goodness. We are going to be hosting on November 18th, so before the next State of the Castle, and please mark your calendars, a hospitality town hall in Lindsay Hall. So we want you to come with your feedback. There's been a lot of new menu items. We had our pop-up days. We want to hear your feedback regarding that. There's been discussions regarding the Saturday buffet, if we like those, if we don't like those. So we would like for you to come with your constructive feedback, as well as maybe some positive things too. Always nice to end on a good note, but definitely what you would like to see with your dining program in 2026. So we think this is a nice open forum that you all can come, and Tim, Tanya, and Majarka and myself will be in attendance for this. And take your notes. I'm not saying we're going to be able to do everything, but it's always nice to have these open town hall meetings, especially when we have the amazing staff that we do have, and we have great insight and ideas in the pipeline for 2026 for dining and how to maximize our space, our venues, to give you the best experience possible. So, November 18th, please check your calendars. All right, who has the first question? Yeah.
What time of day is that, is it November 18th?
The question was, what time of day is that? So I believe it is at 1 to 2, but I intentionally did not mention that because I don't want to tell you something wrong. Evan, are you looking it up?
It is on the app. I'm looking it up.
Nancy says it's 1 o'clock.
Perfect, thank you. 1 o'clock p.m. on November 18th. And it's also on the app and the calendar. Great questions.
Lindsay, I just had a positive thing I wanted to share. I don't know how many of you had, I think it was a week ago Wednesday, the bowl with the, what do you call them, the rolled up things?
Egg rolls.
Egg rolls. We were at a table, 6 people, everybody loved it. At Sunday's buffet, Tim was making omelets, so I said, I just want to tell you, we really love that meal. And he said, wait, and he disappeared. And everybody around me said, what did you do to him? I said, nothing. I was giving a compliment. He goes in and brings out, I think, Dimitri. And he said, this is who you have to thank. And here stands Dimitri. So I did. I said, and he was like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. But again, I thought, that's wonderful that Tim said, wait a minute. You know, here's the guy who did it. And I said, do it again.
Yeah, that was great. Just to recap that, so the egg rolls that were on the menu last week, Lynn paid her, obviously, the whole meal was great and told Tim that at the Sunday Omelet Bar. And actually, the egg rolls were made and created by one of our sous chefs, Dimitri. So Tim went and got Dimitri and was able to bring him in front of the residents to say thank you in person. So that is
you never see him.
wonderful, right, exactly. So you never always see some of the people behind the wings too. So it's always great. We have a wonderful kitchen staff, a wonderful serving staff. I mean, I'm biased, but we have a great staff in general right now at the community, so that's really wonderful to hear. I missed the egg rolls though, so I'm gonna have to talk to them. We're gonna have to get those back.
And I think it's Nick that makes the salads.
Yes, Nick does make the salads.
Great.
He is one of our prep cooks.
Yeah.
And so Nick does our salads, and he does a wonderful job as well too, and really growing from within and being mentored within the kitchen. Yeah, Dave.
I guess this is the time to bring it up. Frequently, the wait staff removes plates from the table before everybody's done. And it kind of puts a lot of pressure on the person that isn't finished yet. And I know no restaurant you go into, they do that. So maybe you could ask them to pull back, clearing the plates until everybody's done.
So the statement to that was, if we can wait on removing plates before other individuals at the table are done with their meal, because it sometimes creates that sense of urgency that you need to finish your meal and that it needs to be out of the way. And if we can remind the staff of that. You know, I don't disagree with you, Dave, but technically we don't want people to sit with their dirty plates in front of them or empty plates too. And when I was personally trained back in the day, you know, it is to obviously clear the plates as delicately as possible that isn't interrupting. But if someone is in the middle of their meal, we can definitely have them wait a little longer too, because we don't want it, you know, I know sometimes people have comings and goings, people joining a little later too, and if that creates a sense of stress in a meal or anxiety that you need to eat quicker, we don't want that experience too. So I think we can definitely talk to the hospitality serving staff regarding that experience. No comment. Susan, yeah.
I remember my son being trained as a waiter to do clear the plates. People don't want the dirty plate in front of them. Really, what his boss wanted was to turn the table to get the next people in there, and it puts pressure on people. But I also want to add to that stacking the dishes one on top of the other in front of you as you're taking them off is gross.
So the comment from Mrs. Hackle was about similar accolades, but training experience is usually obviously to turn tables over, so you want to bust them and clear them, but then not stacking them. So we can absolutely work on that. I've seen that as an observation too. It's also just aesthetically not necessarily a nice, enhanced fine dining experience. So we will work on that with our hospitality. Yes?
Sometimes some people are, for various reasons, not able to ever finish their meals, ever. And so sometimes everybody else is all through it. And, you know, I don't think that they should necessarily have to sit there forever.
I'm talking about somebody who was obviously eating and not finished, and the other three people are done, and they take the plates.
Well, we will work on that nonetheless within hospitality. We'll work on obviously the serving and the busing of that. We have a really great serving team right now and very consistent staff, so always room for improvement, and we do appreciate that feedback and how each individual enjoys their dining experience. And I think that those suggestions and feedback will be very beneficial to bring to the town hall on November 18th at 1 o'clock. Yes?
I've experienced that a server will ask nicely, are you finished? Yes or no?
Okay, but are you finished is different from, may I take your plate?
The comment was, we've experienced also on the other end of individuals very politely saying, may I take your plate? So, yeah, absolutely. We'll work on that. Paul?
In the world of fine dining, if you place your fork and a knife at 4 o'clock on your plate, that is simple to the person that's removed the plate. So it's me, it's I who decides to remove the plate, not someone else. It's just a simple system. Very few places use it, but if you go to certain restaurants, it's almost a given. That's the way you let the wait staff know that you can remove it.
Right. So Paul's comment was if you put your, obviously, silverware indicating that you can either put them together, I know, or you can put them across at 4 and 8.
Put them at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. And then that is a universal symbol to indicate that you are through with your meal and you would like your plate to be removed. All right. Who has the next question?
Yeah. Do we have any system where we can have our beds made?
The question was, do we have any system where we can have our beds made? At this time, Eric perked up over there. Yes, we do.
There's a fee for it.
There is a fee for it that you would be charged for, similar to a la carte, but there is an option for that. Eric, do you know how much it is?
$15. I think it's $15.
I don't know off the top of my head.
We don't know it off the top of your head, or off the top of his head or mine, but yes.
The fee is $10, because yes, do mine.
Perfect. The fee is $10 if you would like someone to make your bed for you. I would like that. And it's changing sheets. Yes.
Changing sheets.
Mhm.
And is it different for different size beds?
I don't think it is different for different size beds, no. One size fits all, so if you have a king, you get out ahead.
How do you let anyone know that you want that done?
You can call the housekeeping manager to place that request or use the work order system. And then Leslie would call and we would assign it to them when they do their housekeeping.
Okay, thank you.
So if you'd like that experience,
Get a sheet to sign when they're there.
yeah, if you'd like that experience, you can put in a work order or call the housekeeping manager. And then there also is a sheet to sign that then they will add it to your schedule.
Is there a bed sheet you're talking about?
No, just a formal, regular sheet. All right, who has the next question?
I think that brings it to rest.
That wraps it up. All right, well, thank you, everyone. I just want you to note in your calendar that we will not be having our State of the Castle on the fourth Thursday next month because that is Thanksgiving. So unless you would like to have Thanksgiving here, that would be nice. We will be hosting our State of the Castle for both November and actually December falls the same way this year on Christmas, the week prior. So November 20th at 1 p.m. is the next State of the Castle. So we'll see you all in just a few weeks. And then December will also reflect the same way in the calendar too. All right, everyone have a fabulous Thursday.
You as well.